I love Star Wars. I have loved Star Wars since I was 4 years old during the Episode 3 hype train, and I've been a fan of Star Wars games since I was 7, playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 and LEGO Star Wars 1 on my PlayStation 2. And I'm sad I don't talk about this franchise more. Yes, for the longest time, I was a ride or die Star Wars fan. I would exclusively buy LEGO Star Wars just because of the brand name when I was a kid. You know, I would buy the toys, I would buy the games, like The Force Unleashed, just because it had Star Wars on it. I would spend days on end watching videos about the lore, and to be honest with you, I even designed my own campaign for Battlefront 3 for the modern titles. EA, if you ever watch this video, I'm on version 53 of that campaign, and I would be more than happy to share it with you, with some royalties of course, because your boy's gotta make a living somehow. Star Wars is where I started out my YouTube career, or at least how I got my inspiration. There was this Battlefront 2 machinima called The Clone Apart. I think I found it in the second grade on a trip overseas, and I would just stay inside because I wasn't allowed to go out and do the adult stuff, so I would binge that series over and over again. That's where I discovered YouTube, discovered machinima, and had that spark to make something, to create something. For something to grab 3 pillars of becoming a YouTuber, that's going to stick in your brain forever. And it certainly did. It made me fall in love with trying to tell a story. Even if we never got to see the end of Season 2 of The Clone Apart, my heart goes out to everybody. I can pick up any single Star Wars game and feel right at home, regardless if it's that Jedi Starfighter game from back like in 2004 or Jedi Survivor that's just recently come out. It feels right to me, and will always be that way because Star Wars has been a part of my life for the majority of it. Kinda hard to see that going anywhere anytime soon, and hey, good on them. They created one of the biggest franchises of all time. Even if I don't interact with the fan base, or the awful side of the fan base, it's still really cool to be a part of, even if I've only made just a couple of videos on it. I feel like I grew up in one of the biggest times for Star Wars. It was in the middle of the prequel era, and the Clone Wars took everything bad about those movies and made it so much just better. But things we liked as kids slowly go away. It may not be right now, and it may take years, but, you know, eventually it does. And I think it's safe to say that my jumping off point was, with a lot of people, with the sequel era. And really shouldn't be a surprise. And I think it's safe to say, I hate everything about it. If I wanted to watch a Marvel-style comedy movie where everybody's quipping every 2 seconds, I would just go watch a Marvel movie. It moved away from the more mature look at conflict staged around a fun, spacey adventure to tone everything down for a less mature audience. I'm always under the sentiment that you should treat your audience like they aren't stupid. That at least some level, even if it's small, they get what's going on. And for all of the flack George Lucas gets, he understood that. Unfortunately for him, his vision was too much politics. What people love about the Clone Wars is that it's a show that grew with its audience. It's hard to find something like that in the Disney era that has that same level of violence, and yeah, as a Modern Warfare 2 kid, I was accustomed and wanted violence. Maybe that's where I went wrong, actually, but oh well. It felt like we had much more variety back then than, you know, what we have right now. And maybe that's a symptom of modern media, a lesser known cousin to modern gaming, where everything is the same every 30 seconds and there's a joke or a gag and pretty basic plots and camera work with awful CGI. That's what I feel like the sequels are, and most of the animated stuff that they did up until The Rise of Skywalker. And now we get to be positive again because Star Wars revived itself from the ashes that I feel just kinda started with Fallen Order. It was a game we desperately needed at the time, where every single thing was tight-knit and worked together perfectly. That and Rogue One were the greats of that era, and in hindsight was a sign for more things to come. The Mandalorian took over the world during the pandemic, even if it's in its later seasons kinda mid. The Bad Batch came out after Clone Wars Season 7, came to relive the glory days of that animation era. Andor is the best piece of Star Wars media released, probably ever. I think I love Andor so much. Jedi Survivor was incredible. Disney really hit a stride here that I personally enjoy as somebody who doesn't really care anymore. But I come back to watch these shows and to play these games, even if I don't do it on a hardcore basis like I did when I was a kid. And yeah, we're gonna get some stinkers like the Book of Boba Fett. But hey, that happens to everybody. And for the first time in a long time, I'm excited to see what happens next. Star Wars is always going to be decisive. Every single era has its fans and its haters. And the lame part of that is that all of these fans hate each other, so let's just say you could call it somewhat toxic. But in a galaxy far, far, far away, maybe there's room for everybody. Because, like it says, it's a galaxy. And a galaxy is a really large place. And even if it doesn't seem like all of us are in it, we all have the same goal of loving this franchise. Now let's just say some people are a little more controversial than others, but that is not my department. So I will leave that alone. You guys can worry about that by yourselves. So for now, a Star Wars video. Something I probably should have made a really long time ago, but I'm now just getting around to it, and I hope you enjoyed my perspective on this and kind of see how Star Wars really affected this channel, and me, I guess, if you care about me. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy what I do, maybe consider checking out some of my other stuff. Thank you so much.